Well, give you an idea of just how we shared in Oak Harbor, people brought in a kit. And so as you can see, I've got 3 or 4 that I've done. I've got a bunch of old cars that are in my closet. And I decided, I got a bottle of Pullman Green, had an old Flocal Pullman Green. So I painted up about a dozen cars. Painted it up, a whole bunch of them. Did the roofs black. And so I need to put these together. And as the sign says over there, I got some of them in 86, 87, and I finally, in the last 3 or 4 months, got some of them together. I got about 8 more to go. So these are model die casting kits, and they don't have any interior in them. And so I, had to put them together. And I've got started on this one already. Some guys have a kit they don't know what to do with. Like, this is made of, I don't know, some XYZ material, and I don't know how to do with it. So if you got one of those kits, what do I do with it? Maybe somebody's got a suggestion. And this one, I'll just make this little quick suggestion. These end walls in these cars got windows in them. Okay, well, you can put plastic windows in them, but I always have a bathroom for men and women. And it's not appropriate to have a window in the bathroom. So I put little blanks in here, styrofoam, and fill them in. So if you look in the end of my cars, the bathrooms are blanked out. So that's my situation. I will finish this kit, paint it up, decal it, and make it for the addition of my train.
How do we know you just won't bring one of those?
Okay, this was a parlor car. It's an observation. It'll have a brass rail around the end. Okay.
Okay.
You got that? You got that on the camera? Brass rail. Okay.
It's recorded.
It's recorded.
So anyway, I got a little Denny's guy here, and I thought, well, what's Denny's without an interior? And so I popped the top off and got it after I got it all done. Then I painted the seats and stuff like that. Then I got this really cool, did I have the big, oh here.
Yeah.
Got this really cool
Where'd
pattern.
you get that?
I don't remember. Because we get a lot of stuff donated to the club.
Looks like
And I've got a red one, but since I painted the seats red, I didn't want to do that. My frustration though is I'm having a real hard time like cutting the pattern, because there's so many seats and little areas there.
You gotta take the furniture out before you put the floor down.
Whoa, wait a minute. Like there's a thing called hindsight.
Too late.
You were talking about being wise.
I know, that's the experience thing, right? What was the quote? Experience, you learn from experience, but
Good judgment comes from experience, and experience, well, that comes from bad judgment.
there you go. So there you go. So anyway, my biggest issue right now is I'm trying to get this flooring cut to different things, but I've got all these gaps and stuff, but then I realized, yeah, this is in scale. Who's gonna see the gaps? So now I'm all motivated to get it done again.
I'm gonna look to make sure the tiles are.
And then last clinic, Phil, who's not here today, Phil Hernandez, he's a member of the club. He likes to hit convenience stores where he works and a dollar store where he gets great ideas. And I got these. And I'm not going to put them all in there, but I'm going to have enough, to go around so that it doesn't, because a lot of times I've noticed in the lighting of stuff like this, it's like real bright in one area and not so much in the other. And this stuff's really cool because it's really pliable and I can do it like a real Denny's where I can tape it and get the lights to cover. I'm not going to do a very good job doing it, but you can see what's...
Turn it over, look through the top.
Yeah.
You see the light in the top though, when you got the lights in
Yeah,
there?
but you got this.
Oh, okay, that'll help.
So it's got this cover stuff, and if it didn't,
You'd have to paint the inside or something.
paint the snot out of black. And then, you can get on eBay and find these thousands and thousands of little in-scale people. And so what I did was I go through it and find all the little seated ones. You know, I know that HO people cut people off at the waist and I just can't do that. Cut a little people, I'm sorry lady, I'm sorry. So mine are actually gonna have their legs under the benches there and stuff. But, so that's what I did for that. So, I'm really close to being done with it because the parts you can't see, once I get the flooring on and the lights in, I'm good, so.
And that's, those are 3-volt lights, you got 2 batteries, right?
I think, yeah.
Yes, 3-volt lights, you can cut them anywhere you want, they're all in parallel. So you don't have to have the whole string.
Oh, okay,
You can
cool.
just take 3 or 4 and then hook it into a 3-volt power supply or a 5-volt power supply.
Right, so I don't need the
with
battery
resistors.
pack, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like me to make a slice right in the middle of it right now?
Hey, where'd you get those lights again?
You like to cut HO people in half, don't you?
Yes.
I do, yes. I'm guilty.
This is a dollar store.
Yes.
The only thing, I went to the dollar store today and this is the only string of white they had. They had multicolored, but you know, I don't want to have multicolored in there.
Well,
You can
Walmart-
actually buy those online. They're not all that expensive, and you can get them much smaller than that
They're
even.
called,
Yeah.
they're called fairy lights.
Well, I just got this idea when Phil showed him at the thing. I thought, well, there you go. So that was at the Burlington store, and all they had was the string of colored, multicolored, so it doesn't do me that much good.
Walmart, you get it there, the
Right,
fairy
okay.
lights, whatnot.
Yeah.
Wait till after Christmas,
Oh, boy. Yeah.
give me 70% off.
Well, these are $1.20, so I'm good.
I thought you said you went to the dollar store.
Dollar store's a dollar. You're showing your age. Dollar store, a dollar?
Where have you
It's
been?
$1.25 store.
Inflation,
Ah,
inflation.
so anyway,
So, I said, Mark's heard this one before, wanted to have a barn on my layout, so I bought the kit, and then I found a barn that was already complete and it fit perfect, so now I got this kit. This is actually the second kit, I had another kit. But, so I want to do is I want to make this into a dilapidated barn, so that's my goal. I haven't worked with the laser cut wood much. The last time I tried some, everything warped on me and stuff. So I'm trying to figure that one out.
Paint
The other
both
thing-
sides,
Huh?
paint both sides.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the trick, keep it from warping.
Would you spray paint instead of acrylics?
Whatever.
Okay.
Both
If
sides.
it was me, I would stain it. I would
Yeah.
not paint it, I would stain it with, you can dilute, you can dilute, well, yeah, that'll work, but you can also dilute leather dye.
Okay.
Not shoe polish, because if you take the black shoe polish and dilute it, it'll turn it kind of a bluish color. But leather dye, USMC, you know, Marine Corps, leather dye, diluted, yeah, hoorah, with leather, with
Okay.
alcohol, okay, stain both sides.
Indian ink?
Yeah, it'll just take you a lot longer to build a color up.
Okay. The other thing I was trying to do also is, because it is lap siding, is to be able to take and try to lift some of it up, you know, tear into it, make it look like it's some of the barns around town here. So if anybody has any suggestions on how to go ahead and do that, you know, I guess a scalpel and just kind of go in there a little bit, not cut through it.
We do that all the time in HO scale, right? I just thought I'd mention that.
Yes,
Single edge razor blade, and just lift the corner up a little bit.
okay.
Yeah, try that.
Try it on a scrap piece though.
Yeah.
Learn first.
Well, it's all gonna be scrap, right? Especially a dilapidated barn, so.
Bachman locomotive maintenance building that I've opened it just enough to make sure all the parts are still in there even though it was sealed. And my goal is to get my first layout building done
Scale,
and scale.
and scale.
Because
Are
it's
you
big
gonna-
enough.
Are you gonna put lights in it? Is that lights in it?
More than likely, there will be lights in there eventually. Maybe not by March, but
No, yeah, build it first.
And one of the things that Mark had mentioned was making sure you black out that plastic on the inside because the light will shine through it.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
If you're gonna light it.
thankfully for this one, it's pretty much glass walls and everything, so hopefully shouldn't need as much blacking out.
Yeah, well, a hint that I use on a lot of things, if you don't want to use black, use yellow wall color. If you put a layer of any kind of paint, it helps cut that light showing through. If it doesn't have to be black.
You can always paint over black too.
Yeah.
Gray's a good color for maintenance buildings inside.
Or the old institutional green.
Yeah.
I use, my interiors of my cars are all institutional green now.
There you go.
Spend much time in an institution.
I was a teacher.
I have the spot on my layout where two 30-inch radius tracks cross. And so I figured I needed to scratch build it or it wouldn't look right. So I got started, and then I discovered I'd made my drawing backwards. So
Flip the drawing over.
back to the drawing board.
That's that experience thing
I
again.
was thinking that if I
Yeah,
used this
I like
thin
that.
styrene under the joint, I could glue everything to it and hold it in place until I get it on the layout.
It's supposed to be operational and function? I mean, yeah, okay. It's a little, I've scratched build the crossing, but it's just for looks, so I can't know if I can help you in any hints.
We'll see how it goes.
Can I see that piece of plastic for a second? Is that what's captured? Okay. So, Roger, and for anybody else, on the interior of buildings, you mentioned painting, and that's something you can certainly do. And when you blank out windows, I used to use black construction paper, which fades, and then you look at it a few years later and it's sort of an awful color. Nick has discovered that he uses black styrene and lines all the insides of his structures now, all the walls with styrene, right against the wall so no light will leak through. And then also uses them for room dividers so you can't see through one window and out the back side of the house. So just an idea, you can buy it, it's on eBay. I bought packages of black styrene in different, I think 040 or 060, different thicknesses, so.
So does anybody know how you decide how long the guardrails need to be? I was thinking it needed to be the length of a truck, but it makes it look way longer than what you see on a switch or something.
I used Paul Mallory's book from years ago on track work, and they gave some specifics in there about how long some of that stuff is. You might be able to go online and find some real prototype technical manuals that tell you that. I don't know how much research you want to do, but
Go to the website for fast tracks. They have templates for crossings that you can download.
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Fast tracks. Knowing if we have any participation in that or not, I brought several things. Now, you guys might remember that we, the Carter household, Mrs. Carter, we moved. I went with her. And so I was in the middle of building a city, small part of a city, and I wanted to do an intersection, and so I bought some of these Walters kits, but I can't build things the way they're supposed to be. I have to change them around and add different storefronts and so forth, because I don't want mine to look like Dave's or something like that that's on his layout. This would be better. So I've got two different buildings here in progress, and my goal, my promise, is to have these finished up by March, third Monday of March. You also may remember, some of you anyway, the story of this gas station that I found in Seattle, in North Seattle. And a lot of you probably don't know this story, but I took pictures of this gas station years ago, and I found them on the internet, not on the internet, but on my computer, and I looked at them. I said, I should do something with that. So I sent a copy of one of them, one of these, you pass it around here, to Nick Muff, our good friend Nick. And so, what do you think, Nick? And so he did some preliminary drawings on his CAD computer and came up with plans in HO scale. And he wasn't satisfied with the photos that you see there that I took. Some of those are his because he decided he needed better photos. So Nick packed up his car with his wife, and they drove down to North Seattle, Lake City. And this is now a restaurant, and you can see in the bottom right-hand corner there, it's now a different color. But he took photos, and he said, as they were eating dinner, would you mind if I made measurements of this building? And the people were like, well, no. So he went around with a tape measure, and Sue, his wife, was holding the other end of it, and he measured the walls, he measured the windows, he measured the doors, the restrooms, everything. And so he developed the plans, and he said, what do you think? And I said, yeah, you know, gosh, Nick, what can I say? Then he went to work and he exported the file into his laser cutter, and he cut out the walls out of mat board, or not mat board, excuse me, basswood. And I'm going to pass this Ziploc bag around. This is kind of what I got from him. It's a bunch of
It's a laser cut.
laser cut wood, no instructions.
Oh, of course not.
No.
You're a master modeler, you can figure it out.
So he
That is sad.
he cut out all the parts, and I assembled them.
Fragile.
And this is as far as I got until the bomb went off and we were moving, and so everything got packed up. And for the longest time, I couldn't decide if I wanted to make it what brand. I knew I wanted it to be a gas station. I didn't want it to be a radiator shop like it's in the photographs, but I didn't know what brand. Well, I finally decided on Shell. It's a little colorful. So I started getting stuff. You know, I got the Shell decals from Microscale and gas pumps. I'll pass this around carefully, please. It's well, it's not fragile, but you know, if you stepped on it, it probably wouldn't survive.
Looking pretty good, huh?
Well, it's kind of fun, yeah. Then I decided in the service bay, I needed an interior, because, I mean, come on, a gas station, you gotta have lights and stuff going on in there, right? So Nick to the rescue again, and he went on the internet,
Very good cutting.
and he found some images. Have you guys heard of a company called Roomettes? Anybody? Nobody. Well, he makes, this company Roomettes makes interiors for HO scale buildings out of heavy cardstock that you cut out and assemble, so they're like little shadow boxes, sort of. And he had bought a lot of them, and this image here of the gas station interior was one of them. So he put all that together along with the striping. And the first edition, the yellow was just, it was like a lemon, it was awful. I said, Nick, can you change the color? Well, you know Nick, he just loves to be able to do it. So now I have material for the interior. Now it's just a matter of sitting down and finishing it. I did create a base for that. I think it was styrene. Anyway, larger than wherever the building is. It's out here someplace. And I couldn't find it. I've seen it in the new house, so it's there, but I'm not sure where. So that's my goal, is to finish that up. This is the second kit that Nick has created. Some of you probably don't know this story. Mount Vernon Radiator Store is just down 2nd Street here. And I was fascinated with that structure and took pictures of it. And the same kind of thing happened. I said, hey, Nick, what do you think about this? Well, he, again, went down there, this time on a Sunday. It's not a restaurant, but he measured the thing, did the plans, cut out the parts. I assembled it and finished the building. And at that point, when he handed me early on the Ziploc bag, he wrote Mount Vernon Radiator, kit 1 of 1 on it. So, and again, no instructions.
Is that the one that's got the arch roof on it?
It does.
That is a cool building.
And when I first saw it, I don't know much about roofs, but it's 3/4 of it with shingles, including up over the top, and I couldn't figure that out. And then the bottom portion was tar paper. And when I embarked on that project with Nick, they'd already re-roofed it, and it's a membrane roof now. But he went on to Google Earth history, however you do that, and he found, you know, it's kind of distorted, but he found an image of the roof, of the shingles, and so.
Now, my Susquehanna and Hudson River Railway, I model northeastern Pennsylvania. And about every town in northeastern Pennsylvania has an Acme Market, and they have an A&P grocery store. They were the two biggest chains in northeastern Pennsylvania back in the 60s and early 70s. So I decided I'm going to have an Acme distribution center in the town of Fuglesville on my, it's going to be in Shonersville, correct me. It'll be in Shonersville on my railroad. The real distribution centers are down Philadelphia, but, a little mileage license for traffic. So I've already got a mock-up of a cold storage facility in place. And next, I got to build a dry goods warehouse. And I'm starting off with the Walters Front Street warehouse as a parts supply. And the other one is the Champion Meat Packing. A fellow I know bought this just to get the cattle pens out of it. And then he sold me the rest of the kit for parts.
What a guy.
Okay? So, I started by photocopying the parts in here. And a pair of scissors and Scotch tape. So I've taken the walls like this and photocopied them. And this is going to be, one side of this will be for dry goods, the other side will be for one spot for boxcar for packaging material, coming in paper from Maine, or from paper mills in the south. So, what we've done, if you put this on, and you see now the other part, I gotta cut that, I gotta take this, and I've gotta cut it down so it's gonna fit. And when this building goes in, just this side and this side and the back side will be viewable. This will be against the backdrop, so it's gonna be a solid piece of 80 thousandths evergreen styrene across the back. So that's the plan on this. And this is just from the $1.25 store, phone call.
So those are your mock-ups to see how they fit on the layout.
And then, using the Roberts Freight House here, same thing over here. This will be the dry goods. And same thing. Took this, made a copy of it. Okay, and anyways, then I started in, and what I found out now is this is 1 inch too wide. So I'm gonna now have to cut this whole strip of windows out and glue that corner back in to narrow this. And then and to make it fit. Luckily on this end, you're not gonna be able to see it because the backdrop. So I don't have to, I just make a solid blank piece to go in the back. But again, both sides of this will be visible. And so we'll have 3 different spur tracks. So we have cold storage for refrigerator cars. Then the dry goods buildings will be for box cars and insulated box cars. And 1 track for inbound packaging materials when I get all this done. So that is my project.
Question,
Yes,
these are mock-ups, or you're actually gonna glue the,
no, this is just mock-ups.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he's gonna cut all those windows out or not.
No, this is just, I would use better quality than the $1.25
Well, I was
store.
wondering why that, if it's a mock-up, why do you have to cut that down?
Oh, on this piece,
The actual plastic is too wide for your spot?
right, yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, this is, it's about 1 inch too wide when I got the mock-up in there. So I'm gonna have to take this whole row of windows out and then slide this wall in.
I see, okay.
And narrow it up.
Narrow it up to fit the spot you got.
Right.
Okay.
So I can put a loading platform on. And that is my project between now and March to bring back.
Well, I think that's a good idea to photocopy those parts, that'd be your file.
Yeah, right.
So I have a question for you. So, do you do that to most of your larger buildings where you do the mock-up to see how in other words, how do you know when you should photocopy to see how things fit? Is it a
Okay.
larger project or is it?
There's two ways of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't think you have to shrink it, the base. So you just place the base in and you see if the building base is gonna fit the area you have. And if you know, well, first of all, see, the building is too small. So both of those buildings are not long enough to fill my space. So I'm making those buildings longer than what the kits were. And then I'm also changing the shape on them to fit.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
So
So you're
that's
stealing
why-
parts from one side to elongate the other side.
Correct. And then the other side is gonna be against the backdrop.
And that totally,
Yeah.
because you're altering it.
So it's kind of like, some people cut a kit in half and then pull the two sides. And
Of course, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, except I'm gonna have to do it in like thirds and splice them together and make it fit right.
What do you do to hide your splices?
Well, on the inside,
No, on the outside, is there any specific tricks, or you just follow brick
yes, it's called
posters?
drain pipes.
That's a trick we should learn.
There's 16 drain pipes.
I've cut buildings with the pilasters, but I wasn't trying to fit a certain size, just get the two buildings halfway together. So,
Pipes.
pipes, okay.
Pipes are great for
Trick,
hydro.
there you go.
It's one of the things I did on my layout to, like you said, just do the bases. I tried to figure out what buildings I wanted, and if you look at Walters, of course, it tells you the dimensions of what those models are. So I just cut it out and said, does it fit? Okay, that's the one I'm getting. If it doesn't fit, I'll move on to another one. That worked out really good.
Yeah.
So, question to the group, was tonight's program this kind of unusual one? Yes, no, what do you think?
Yeah,
Well, I got some modeling tricks, tips out of
it
this.
was semi-usual.
And of course, this is only part one, part two is the third weekend in March.